The NFL season is getting closer and closer. And that means your draft is getting closer and closer. And you're trying to find those league-winning players that you should be getting at great value and or at their ADP. So I'm bringing you 4 league winners that you should be drafting going into the 2023 season. Comment down below. Let me know who are some league winners that are being overlooked or undervalued, whatever the case may be. And as always, go to flogfantasy.com/land, the best place to support what Zach and I are doing here. Not only do you get our articles, rankings, and bonus content, you get so much more as the season and the year progresses, going week to week. Once again, flogfantasy.com/land, get 30% off at sign up, and let's get into the league winners. So today I'm bringing you a player on each and every position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Let's start off at the running back position. That is Miles Sanders, my running back, the community's running back 20 on Underdog, my RB 18. And I'm really excited about Miles Sanders this year because I think he's being overlooked, undervalued, and people are not really leaning on him, especially where he's going right now. And I think he can be a solid, I would say high-end RB2 coming into the 2023 season, and a league winner that can really set your foundation for your league coming into this year. So Miles Sanders was with the Philadelphia Eagles this past year, finished as the RB13 this past year. And he really wasn't the main focus with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert and this phenomenal defense. He had a great offensive line on this team, or on the Philadelphia Eagles, but now he's with the Carolina Panthers. They get rid of CMC. They bring in Miles Sanders, and he's going into a decent team. Let's be completely honest. On paper, this team is decent. Has a great defense who gets the ball back to their offense often, right? The offensive line with Ike Ekwonu is going to continue to progress, and another year, right? Bryce Young coming in as one of the best quarterbacks, literally the 101 pick in the NFL draft, that we're going to be seeing him leaning on Miles Sanders coming into this year for his rookie season. And look, he's going back with his running back coach that he was with when he got drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2019, where he caught 63 targets. Sorry, he caught 50 targets out of 50 receptions out of 63 targets. That's a lot. That is a career high for Miles Sanders. He was nowhere near that ever since that head coaching change was made over there in Philadelphia. 2019 caught 50 out of 63. 2020 caught 28 out of 52. 2021 caught 26 out of 34. 2022, this past year, caught 20 out of 26. He wasn't the main focus and didn't get the opportunity in the air. We all know the Eagles, they didn't target the running back position barely. I think bottom 5 in targeting the running back positions, and the running back position coming in this past year. And that's easily going to change. Frank Wright and this offensive coordinator, and so much more of him leaning on going back with the running back coach and Miles Sanders. And I think this is a phenomenal value right now. A high-end RB2 getting drafted around, I would say, mid to 6th round. Sometimes you can see him fall into the 7th round. I think that is a great value that you can get him here, as in my rankings, RB18 in the community, RB20. Miles Sanders, to me, is a phenomenal league winner coming into this season. Let's go to the wide receiver position. My league winning wide receiver that he's currently going right now in the 3rd round. Sometimes he falls into the late 3rd round, depending on your drafts. And that is Keenan Allen. Currently the wide receiver 19 in the community, my wide receiver 18. And I truly believe he can easily start to rise as the season gets closer and closer. And look, I am one of these people that have maybe been putting the narratives in your head saying Keenan Allen is injury proof because of the whole Quentin Johnston. And first and foremost, I am sorry that maybe I've skewed that narrative, but I really had to reevaluate, saying, okay, where's Keenan Allen going? What does that look like? Where was he going last year? And I think when you look at his value compared to last year, it's phenomenal. I was somebody last year saying Keenan Allen is a top 10 wide receiver coming into this past year, right? Coming into the year in 2022, I was like, he can easily be, an early 2nd round draft pick, early to mid 2nd round draft pick. And unfortunately, he was injured. Right, he missed the first half of the season this past year. He missed weeks 1 to 10. He was in and out with those injuries, but when he comes back, I think that is what is the difference. When he comes back from weeks 11 to 18, Keenan Allen from that span was the wide receiver 3. The wide receiver 3. That is ahead of CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill. I mean, then the list goes on of how high he was going and producing. He was averaging 18.8 fantasy points per game. That was with Justin Herbert, obviously, with Mike Williams, obviously. And I think that can easily continue coming into this year. Yes, Keenan Allen is 30 plus years old. Yes, he's probably on his last leg here. But if he's with Justin Herbert getting drafted in the 3rd round, maybe as your wide receiver 2, maybe even your wide receiver 3, depending on how you draft, maybe you get 2, maybe you start 3 wide receivers, or maybe you start 2 running backs and he's your first wide receiver. This is the value that you want to get. We have to remember the type of wide receiver Keenan Allen is. Okay, when you really look at his career and you look at what he was doing in the past, he was always a top consistent wide receiver. 2017 wide receiver 3, 2018 wide receiver 12, 2019 wide receiver 8, 2020 wide receiver 14, 2021 wide receiver 14 again. That is going, in my opinion, going to continue and is going to return the ADP where he's going as wide receiver 19 right now, currently on Underdog. So if you can get him in that range, he can easily catapult himself to a top 12 wide receiver if he stays healthy. And that is the risk. That's the risk with every single person that we draft coming into this year. Everyone's going to be injured. I mean, Cooper Kupp, we're talking about his injury right now. That's the same thing that could happen with Keenan Allen. Maybe Quentin Johnson takes over. Whatever the case may be, Keenan Allen, we know the history. We know what he can do with Justin Herbert. And that's exactly what I'm going to be leaning on here. So once again, let me emphasize this one more time. Weeks 11 to 18, Keenan Allen was a wide receiver 3 when he came back from that injury. Maybe he plays the first 11 games and he's a wide receiver 3 or top wide receiver 5, and then he misses the second half of the season, or vice versa. Again, it doesn't matter. Keenan Allen has the history of producing a league winning upside week in and week out and getting you to that championship. So if I can, I will be targeting Keenan Allen going into the 2023 season. My next position is the tight end position, and a little bit of a homer pick here. Zach has been talking about this, and obviously once I say homer, you guys should already know who that is, and that is Darren Waller, tight end 7 in the community right now. He is my tight end 3, and I'm with Zach. You know, Zach said he's his tight end 3 a couple weeks ago. I was like, I don't know about TJ Hawkinson. But if you really break down this offense and really compare both of these two, there's no hurdles Darren Waller has to surpass over TJ. So I would have to agree, Darren Waller is also my tight end 3 coming into the 2023 season. And honestly, it's because of this offense. It's because of how I trust Brian Daboll. It's because how we've seen the improvement of Daniel Jones. And before I even continue, I want you guys to pause and comment down below who you think is who is the wide receiver 1 on this team. And don't name Darren Waller or Saquon Barkley. I bet you so many people are going to name a different wide receiver. But the most consistent player that I believe that Daniel Jones is going to be targeting is Darren Waller. And when you think of those wide receivers, you think of Sterling Shepard coming off an ACL. You think of Darius Slayton, who's always had an up and down career. You think of Wanda Robinson coming at ACL tear. You think of Paris Campbell, who has dealt with injury, right? You think of Isaiah Hodgins, who had a decent season this past year, but was that a fluke? What was that? Those are 5 wide receivers. I can name Cole Beasley. I can name Jamison Crowder. This is slot wide receiver U for the New York Football Giants. But Darren Waller, the biggest, the strongest, not the fastest, but the most talented weapon on this team outside of Saquon Barkley. And that's exactly why Darren Waller should be the pick here for each and every one of you. This past week, or not this past week, earlier today when I was doing our live stream, Darren Waller went in the 7th round of your startup or of your home league or redraft league, whatever the case may be. The 7th round. And I truly believe this guy can finish as a top 3 tight end coming into this year, being the number 1 target on this offense, and Daniel Jones taking another step, feeling comfortable, literally building this offense with and targeting Darren Waller all over training camp. I mean, we've seen the reports that Darren Waller, Brian Daboll had to take out Darren Waller because he wanted Daniel Jones to pass the ball to somebody else. That's how much of a connection they have. That's how much they're going to continue to build this connection. And yes, the biggest caveat is, can Darren Waller stay healthy? If he can, just like I was talking about earlier with Keenan Allen, if he can, he's easily a top 3, top 5 tight end, and you're getting him at a tight end 7 price. That is phenomenal value right now. I'm going to be drafting Darren Waller as much as I can coming into the 2023 season at the tight end position. Okay, let's go to the quarterback position. I got 2 homer picks. This is very rare where you can see two New York Football Giants coming from a Giants fan. I tried to stray away from all Giants players and picks and conversations because I don't want to bring my bias whatsoever. But honestly, I truly believe this is also a phenomenal pick coming into this year, and that is Daniel Jones at the quarterback position. Currently right now on the door, QB 14. He's my QB 12, and I think he can easily be rising right now. I'm not necessarily sure where I want to put Dak Prescott, but right now QB 12 for me, and I think I can see him going into my top 11, top 12 quarterbacks coming into this year. Let me remind you what Daniel Jones did this past year. Finished as a quarterback 9, threw for 3,200 yards, but the biggest thing is that he ran for 708 yards, averaging 18.4 fantasy points per game. Daniel Jones in the second half of the season was a league winner. He was somebody that won your leagues, if I'm not mistaken, in the championship round when he was playing the Indianapolis Colts. I think that was his biggest game, dropping like 30 plus points that game. He was rushing, he was going crazy. I can tell you exactly what that is right now. Daniel Jones, the last game of the season against the Colts in week 17, dropped 36.2 fantasy points that game. He went off. That's the type of, once again, my bias. I really hope that is some sort of consistent play that we can see from Daniel Jones coming into the 2023 season. Even then, even what he did on the ground is phenomenal. I think that's what's exciting about Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones can't do it in the air, we know he's going to be a threat on the ground. But if he can't do it on the ground because of so many of all the weapons now, then he could do it in the air. Only threw for 3,200 yards. Can he surpass 4,200? Can he get an extra 1,000 yards? Can he surpass 3,500? Can he be on pace for that starting the 2023 season? And this is a hard division. This is a hard schedule for Daniel Jones, where he's gonna have to throw the ball more than he used his legs this past year. But once again, Daniel Jones, the way that he was producing and what he was doing this past year is phenomenal. I always draft, genuinely, it's probably just me as a Giants fan, but he always goes. The latest mock draft we just did, he went in round 12. And he is somebody who finished as a top 10 quarterback this past year. If he can do that, you can get him in round 12, who has rushing upside. I'll do that every single day. So once again, some of my league winners: Darren Waller, Daniel Jones, Keenan Allen, and Miles Sanders, one from each position. Once again, comment down below. Let me know who are your league winners. Who is somebody that you wish I had on this list? And as always, it's all love.
Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.